So this is the second video for 11.1 in MGF 1106, dealing with probability. And so we're going to do some examples now. First one we're going to look at is probability in genetics. So probability in genetics, again, we're going to do a really brief idea with this. This is going to deal with, again, our actual experimental piece that we can deal with. So genes are linked to chromosomes. Genes are either dominant or recessive. To have the dominant gene show up, you need just one of the two to be dominant. For recessive gene, you need both of them to be recessive. So just a quick example of this would be redheads. For you to have a redhead child, both families have to have, or both parents have to be carrying the redhead gene to be able to pass it along. So it doesn't mean that the parent has to be a redhead, but it has to have one of the two on there. So you're more likely to get a redheaded child if you have redheaded parents. If you have two redheaded parents, you should have a redheaded child because they have to pass that recessive gene down. So example one here. You're breeding two plants where tall is the dominant gene. Fill in the possible outcomes for A, B, and C, D. So we have two tall plants, but in this case they have only, again, one. Now they could have had two, but in this case we're having one tall gene and then one short gene. So for these pieces, we're just listing what are the possibilities. So we could get a tall and a tall. We could get a tall and a short. We could start off with a short and tall, or we could get short and short. So now based on this idea here, we're going to write down what are my, again, answers based on these. So what if A, which is TT, is bred with any of the other ones? So it doesn't really matter because this first one will have to give a T, so it will have to be a tall plant. What if D, which is a short plant, is bred with B or C? So if you look at B or C, and it doesn't matter if it's a tall first or a short, so you have a tall and a short in there. So in this case, you always get a you will always get a short, and you're going to have a 50-50 chance of getting that. So we will get 50%, expect to get 50% tall and 50% short, because the second parent plant is going to give you 50% of the time you're expecting a tall and 50% of the time a short. So going to example 2, we're rolling a die. We're, again, assuming a regular die, which is 6-sided, and we're going to find the theoretical probability. So if it's 6-sided, and if it helps, anytime you can list out the possibilities on your paper to look at them, go ahead and do it. So even would be a 2, 4, or 6. So there's 6 possibilities. 3 of them are even. You are expected to reduce it, and so your answer is a half. There will be a few times you're going to be writing your answers as decimals. That's if the problem is in decimal form, or if it's a really large fraction, it will do it. But again, it will tell you on those pieces. So assume you're writing a fraction form answer. So again, you do need to practice using your calculator with those pieces. So B is odd and prime. So this is, again, rolling the die one time. So we're saying it has to both happen. So odd numbers. So I'm going to just kind of note odd would be, prime. Prime is not 1, so I was about to highlight the one that doesn't work. Prime numbers are bigger than 1, and you can only factor it to 1 times itself. So 2 is prime, 3 is prime, and 5 is prime. And out of those 3 numbers that are prime, because I'm saying both have to happen, which ones are odd? So we have 6 possibilities, and the 3 and the 5 are the ones that work. So I have 2/6, which is 1/3. C says even and prime, so if I look at those prime numbers that I highlighted above, 2 is even. So it'll be 1/6. The key that you need to remember here is prime numbers. It is a natural number greater than 1, and that's a key piece people forget. They want to include 1, and you can only factor to 1 and itself. So that's a reminder, because they're going to use that word on and off throughout this chapter. So number 3, we have a random toss of a beanbag, and we're assuming, again, if it lies completely, 50-50-50, we're going to retoss. So we're saying where the most of the bag lands is what your answer is going to be. So we're going to find the probability. So how many total possibilities do I have? I have total of 9. So that's my denominator, because remember, success over total. So probability of landing on 8 would be 1/9. Probability that it's odd. Odd would be 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So I should have 5/9. Even, I should not have to count them up, because remember, odd and even are those disjoint outcomes that we have for this piece. So odd and even should add up to 1. So that means it should be 4/9. But we can check it. 2, 4, 6, and 8. There are 4 of them. Those should add up to 1 because they are disjoint activities or experiments outcomes. So prime, remember, doesn't include 1. So that would be 2, 3, 5, and 7. So I should have 4 out of 9. And again, if it helps to list them, like, don't just do it in your head, do that. But remember, 9 is my total possibilities, and that's my denominator. So x is less than 6 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We don't include 6, but always look at that endpoint. So 9 is my denominator. It's my total possibilities. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5/9. The probability that x is greater than or equal to 10. There is nothing on here that's 10 or bigger. So probability of that is 0. G, probability that I land on something that is less than or equal to 9. Less than or equal to 9 is every single thing on the board, which is 9/9, which is 1. The two extreme cases. If it cannot happen, it's 0. If it has to happen, it's 1. So let's look at a deck of cards. And like I said, this is something that in Canvas you can see the colored format of this. It's actually on the page. If you click on 11.1 section link, you'll see it. Really important that you have this memorized and you understand it. So I've listed out here on the top. There are 4 suits. That's going to be your hearts, your diamonds, your clubs, and spades. 13 cards per suit. Ace, in this case, we're going to consider it a low card, even though, again, sometimes you include it as high. We're including an ace as a 1. Jack, queen, and king are my face cards. Red cards are your hearts and diamonds. Clubs and spades are your black cards. So if you do not know your deck of cards, please make sure you memorize this. You're for sure going to have it on your test. So we're going to draw 1 card, and we want to know the probability. So remember, again, the total cards is 52, which is my denominator. But some of you can reason to the simplified format of this as well. And if you can simplify that in your head, that's okay. So the probability of getting a green card, we're considering this a regular deck. There are no green cards, so it's 0. Probability of red or black, which means, again, either can happen. You're putting everything in the trash can. So the cards are either red or black. So that means that it has to happen. Probability that it's not a spade. The easier one to do this is going to be 1 minus the probability that it is a spade. In this case, it would be 1 minus. There are 13 spades in a deck, which gives me 39/52, which simplifies to 3/4. So I use the real, like the pure definition here to get this. If you can reason it out and you know your deck of cards well enough that there are 4 suits and they're all equally likely, which is the denominator of 4, and not being a spade means it's a heart, club, or diamond, and that's where the 3/4 comes. I'm okay with you being able to go directly to that answer. What I highlighted in yellow is if you're not as comfortable with cards, do it that way. So D says face cards, and remember this is a jack, queen, or king. We don't include aces there. So there are 3 cards, and there are 4 different suits, so 12 face cards. So 12 out of 52. Simplify that down. It's divisible by 4, which gives you 3/13. E, I want a 5, 6, or 7. So there's 3 of them for every single suit. There are 4 suits. So again, we're going to have 12 out of 52. Divide both by 4. That gives me 3/13. A jack or a club. Jacks, there are 4 jacks in the deck, right? Clubs, we've said there's 13 per suit. But this is where you got to be careful because we can't include something twice. So there is 1 jack that is a club. So there's 1 overlap. So 17 minus 1 gives me 16/52. That's divisible by 4, top and bottom, which gives me 4/13. My heart and my club, this means, again, we're picking only one, so both happen at the same time. Can I draw 1 card that is both a heart and a club? Your answer should be no. These are disjoint, meaning they don't overlap. They're actually a word that we're going to use later on. They're mutually exclusive. So we can't pick a heart and a club at the same time if I'm picking 1 card, and that's important. H, a heart or a club. So hearts are 13, clubs are 13, and there's no overlapping. Total is 52. So I have 26 out of 52, which gives me 1/2. So I'm going to real quickly, before I close out of this video, we'll have one more part. I just want to pull up the calculator. So I just want to show you some quick ways, again, to let your calculator simplify this for you. So if we had 12/52, so 12 divided by 52, if we press equals, that gives me the decimal. If I use my double arrow piece here, it gets me back to 3/13, which is the same piece when I was dealing with the pi portion of that, and we were wanting to go from exact to a decimal. That again is going to take you to from those 2 pieces. Another button that you can use is the button that says F to D. That will also work. So if I took 16 divided by 52, press equals, use my arrow key, I get 4/13. So that just, again, is a reminder of something we did already in our calculator, and you can watch some more videos of that if you look in Canvas Shell.